the price of the average house has increased from a multiple of about 4 times average earnings to nearly 8. Will you please help to significantly increase the number of new homes built so that as to reduce that multiple and increase the number of owner-occupiers?
So the question is about house building. First of all, it's important that we help more young people get on the housing ladder. And what I would do is allow people's rents and the rental history they've built up to contribute towards them being able to get a mortgage. But as I said in my opening comments, the planning system doesn't work. It's Byzantine. It wastes lots of people's time sitting on planning committees. It's constantly overruled by various national policies. And I believe a locally driven planning system that has greater freedom will actually deliver houses where people want, rather than houses where people in Whitehall want them to be. And I think that's important. And my idea of low-tax investment zones, which would have simpler planning rules, is you would see businesses built alongside homes, alongside infrastructure. Because what happens at the moment is you get homes just randomly plonked in fields without the infrastructure to support them. And I don't think that works for local communities.
OK, thank you very much indeed. I'm going to come over here in a moment, but we're just sorting something out technically for a moment. Can we come to this gentleman here?
I'm a magistrate dealing with knife crimes all the time. In fact, yesterday I dealt with a case of attempted murder. And one of the reasons we have knife crimes are that knives are so easily available. If you look at online, highly dangerous machetes and knives, you can buy them for £10. Why can't we ban the sale of those things online?
Thank you, sir.
Well, I think that's a very good point. And we do need to make sure that we are cracking down on access to those types of offensive weapons. And my general view on online is what should be right offline should be right online. So what is legal to buy offline or online should be the same. So that is something that I would look at.
Is that the spoken word as well? Will you amend that legislation?
Yes. I believe in free speech. I think it's important that we protect the under 18s from harmful content, but I also think it's important that adults are able to speak freely. I think that's a really important...
That's a specific pledge. You've got to go around the applause to amend that legislation as it sits in Parliament at the moment.
That is a pledge, Alistair.
Thank you very much indeed. Right, over here now, unless I'm being told we can't. We can, bless you. You, sir?
Thank you. My name is Brian Jackson. I'm from Halifax in Yorkshire. Yes, Yorkshire.
I'm glad some people have got over the Pennines into this hustings.
Listen, I'm a mining engineer. I know about these things. And I can tell you that you cannot run, you cannot grow, you cannot progress a modern economy without a secure supply of cheap, abundant, readily available energy. And we haven't got that now. But right here, guess what? Right below our feet is the largest energy bonanza that this country has ever discovered. Bigger than coal, bigger than the North Sea. It's natural gas. It's 1.5 miles below where we're all sitting right now. It's ready to tap. The technology is well proven. It's not dangerous. And I think that somebody in the cabinet, preferably the Prime Minister, should get behind developing that resource. It's ours. Develop it.
Thank you, sir.
I agree, and I support fracking in areas where there is local support. And what I want to make sure is local communities benefit. I think that's very important. And what I would also do, if selected as Prime Minister, is make sure we're using the resources in the North Sea so that we are more energy independent than we are at the moment, as well as moving forward quicker with nuclear power, small modular reactors, nuclear power stations. We need to be doing all of this. And there's a lot of talk at the moment in the media about how can we support people to pay high energy bills. My view is we should deal with the root cause, which is the high energy bills. We need to sort out the supply, because if we just put more money into it, it might work for 6 months at vast cost to the Treasury, but it's not going to sort out the fundamental issue that you're talking about. And I was talking earlier about bringing people who've left the profession into the medical profession. Maybe we need to get you involved in sorting this problem out. You volunteered. I like it.
If the energy crisis is as bad as you've described, and the man you're standing against, then don't you have to consider a slightly unconservative thing, which is to overrule local objections because the crisis is so deep? He wants you to get on with it, not be overruled by a local community that is slightly NIMBY-ish, to put it bluntly.
Well, if you look at... This is why we need changes to the system so that local communities benefit, because one of the issues we were talking about housing earlier is when it is done to a community and they don't feel the benefit of it, they're less likely to be supportive than when they feel the benefit. And fracking takes place a lot in the United States. There are very clear benefits to the local community in that fracking taking place. So we need to look at how we organise our system rather than have the man in Whitehall or woman in Whitehall thinking they know best. I think that's a really important principle.
That may involve overruling.
No, it doesn't. It involves encouraging.
It involves persuading. OK. Gentleman there.
Hi, Liz. Hello. Is it?
Yes?
Yeah, hi. Liz, I'm a doctor of medicine and believes in preventing the things. And this is a question to you in the capacity of the Secretary of the Foreign Affairs and on the Ukraine war. Now, do you think that the Ukraine war can escalate to a level of a nuclear war? In case that happens, do you have any plan to safeguard the British people, all of us, in a situation like that? Or do you think it will never happen and there is a zero risk and we should be very happy, not bothered about it?
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you,
Liz.
So it's in Vladimir Putin's interests to scare people in the West and to go around saber rattling. What is happening is that he expected to have a clear run in Ukraine. He was expecting to take Ukraine in a matter of days and weeks, and he has failed. And what we need to do is help the Ukrainians succeed. And that is why I have been a major proponent of sending more heavy weapons to Ukraine, as well as putting those tough economic sanctions on Russia. But what we can't do in the face of an aggressor is appease the aggressor or fear what they might do. Because if we don't stand up strongly now, and I'm afraid we didn't stand up strongly enough in 2014, when the balkanized deal was done, the Minsk Accords, Putin came back worse now. So this is why we have to stand up to him. And the best way of preventing this war escalating is to defeat Putin in Ukraine and ensure the Ukrainians are able to do that.
Liz, thank you. Next question behind you.
Thank you, Liz. I'm Preston City Councillor. My name's Daniel Duckworth. I'm also a member of the Conservative Disability Group. And I'd like to ask what you're going to do to support disabled people in work and get into work. And also what you're going to do to support people with mental health, because I've got autism myself and depression. What you're going to do to support people with mental health and people in work.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, Daniel. And, as you know, we've been working on a disability strategy, which is all about helping disabled people get into work and have those opportunities and working with employers to do that. And we know at the moment that we need more people in employment, and this is really, really important. And Chloe Smith, the Disability Minister, has been doing a fantastic job on that. We also need to do more to support mental health. And I think mental health has been particularly difficult during COVID. It's been particularly difficult for children and young people. So I want them to have access to mental health support in schools and also in GP surgeries. I support having a mental health nurse in GP surgeries to make sure people are supported, because in these cases, it's important to help people early. And that is the best way to deal with that issue.
Thank you, Liz. Gentleman in the blue shirt there.
Hello, Liz. Earlier before, you mentioned how young people were let down in your local comprehensive. How would you ensure that the education system doesn't let down any more children in places like Manchester and Leeds?
Well, children were let down, and I'm proud to have been part of the education department that delivered academies, delivered free schools, delivered the tough new GCSEs, which my daughter is now sat and is not very happy with me. But we made a lot of changes to the education system to improve it. But it is still the case that a third of all children are leaving primary school without basic English and maths. And we know that if kids get to age 11 without basic English and maths, it's hard for them to succeed in life. So what I want is more specialist maths teaching in primary school. I think it's really important. And also making sure that we have the best possible head teachers and the best possible secondary schools. So I'm a supporter, for example, of schools like the Michaela Academy in Brent. Whatever the children's background, Catherine Burble-Singh believes that child can succeed and won't take no for an answer. It's a no excuses culture, and that is the culture we need to have in as many schools as possible. So I support more free schools like Michaela, more grammar schools in every area, so that, I went to a comprehensive school. I send both of my daughters to a grammar school, but they only have that choice because we are in a particular part of London. I want people to have that choice right across the country.
Woman in the second row.
Hi, Liz. I want you to explain, please, your plans to get more private sector investment, because at the moment you're planning to it just sounds to me as if you're just planning on carry on doing what we've always done. Rishi's got a 2-point plan. He's saying to the top 30%, invest or pay more tax. You're just saying carry on as is. How does that encourage more investment, please? Tell me what your plan is to encourage more investment.
So 2 big things I would do 3 things I would do to encourage investment. First of all, keep corporation tax low. Because if we raise corporation tax to the same level as France, fewer companies are going to want to invest in Britain. And we know that last time we lowered corporation tax, we got more revenue into the exchequer. Low taxes help deliver more business investment and more growth. The second thing I'd do is get on with the post-Brexit reforms like Solvency II and MiFID. I was told, and I had a roundtable in the city, that if we change these rules, we could unlock tens of billions of pounds of investment right across the country. I met the people at Alderley Park. They told me that if we unlock these rules, it will mean more investment in Alderley Park and right across the north. There are tens of billions of pounds of investment, but we need to challenge the Treasury orthodoxy to do that, because the fact is it hasn't been done for the last 2.5 years. That's why we need to get all of those EU rules off our statute books by 2023. And the third thing I do are low tax investment zones, particularly in areas that have been left behind and are fantastic towns across the northwest. I want to see low tax investment zones, encouraging business investment, encouraging new opportunities. And that is the way we will drive our economy forward.
Thank you very much indeed. Final question, only because your eyes tell me it's going to be really short and sharp.
Very quickly, I'm a councillor in Salford, which is 2 miles down the road. We have a city Labour mayor, a Manchester County Labour mayor, who constantly, in fact, their reason for doing anything is to borrow more and more money and to ask the government for more and more money. Now, that doesn't sound too far away, Liz, from what you're suggesting, that we need to borrow £50 billion. How, in fact, are we actually going to pay that back? How long is it going to take us, on top of all the money that we had to borrow during COVID?
My fundamental view is that we have the highest taxes this country has had for 70 years. And if you have taxes that high, you don't actually get the revenue into the exchequer. And currently, we are forecast to have a recession. And I know what it's like living in places where there is a recession, where people don't have the opportunities, don't have the jobs, the money isn't going into the exchequer. And I'm a conservative. I believe in low taxes. I believe that by having low taxes, we encourage people to go to work, we encourage businesses to set up, and we encourage the economy to grow. And that is the best way of getting higher revenues in, not by raising taxes to the same level as France.
Okay. That's our time. Ladies and gentlemen, Liz Truss.